What's happening, everyone? TomGorian here, and welcome back to episode number 20 of the F123 Haas to Glory. This is the series where I take Haas Formula 1 team and try and make them into Constructors' World Champions. If you missed the previous video, the Monaco Grand Prix in heavy rain conditions, then I highly recommend that you check out that video, and you also check out the playlist as well as the other F123 videos on the channel. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe and click the notifications bell so you never miss an upload. I am so close to 700 subscribers, so if you could, subscribe, that would really be appreciative of that. So, we come into the Spanish Grand Prix off the win at the Monaco Grand Prix, and as you can see, it's really close in the performance vehicle comparison between us, Aston Martin, Red Bull, and also McLaren as well for the best car. We have over 1,000 resource points, but we can't really do anything because there's not enough time to really put those upgrades on for the next race in Canada. But we come into this weekend off the back of our first win of Season 2 in Monaco in heavy rain. The upgrade that was supposed to come for last week, for the last episode, hasn't came onto this episode yet, so it's going to come on to the next episode in Canada. Here we actually have a Ask the Drivers survey. The road to F1 must be full of disappointments and setbacks. What do you consider the main factor that helped you get to where you are today? And as you can see, we have the choice of hard work, support and belief. I go for support because support is one of the most important features of any type of sector. What's the best advice you've ever been given? Stay humble, stay strong, or have fun? I go with stay strong because you won't get your own way in life and you'll be met with a lot of difficult situations. So it's most important that you keep to yourself and stay strong and have a solid mindset. But here we are getting ready for the Spanish Grand Prix here in Catalonia, and we need to try and follow up that win at Monaco with another podium and hopefully maybe another win. But you'll see in this video that this is, in my opinion, one of the most chaotic races that may have ever been recorded on this series. The stuff that happens in this race is completely mental. But before we get started with the actual race weekend, I do need to let you guys know the game audio is quite low, so that's why I am doing this all. I'm going to try and do this in one solid take. For some reason, I put the game audio down to its lowest for the previous video, and yeah, I didn't change it. So here we go for qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton sets a 1:10.9. Practice, the car felt really good, especially in Sector 3, but for some reason, the AI just in qualifying around the circuit is just absolutely ridiculous to try and match and try and beat. But we come across the final corner in Spain, the redesigned final corner, and across the line we go, and we do a 1:11.557. That puts us third place and 6 tenths away from Lewis Hamilton. So later on we go again on the same used tyres, as you can see, heading in towards the final corner, and we are just under 2 tenths up as we do an 11.3, and our pace in qualifying is not that good. Believe it or not, and I don't know why. I was doing 10.9s in practice, and now we can't even do a 11 flat in the actual qualifying session. I do believe that the AI are very overpowered when it comes to the final 2 corners and how much speed they can carry into those final 2 corners. But away we go here for our final run in qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix, and as you can see, it's not been a good start. Alex Albon does a 10.5, which is 7 tenths quicker than what we've been able to do. So in order to get pole position, we need to pull 7 tenths at minimum out of our asses if we want to get any chance of getting pole position as we end towards turn number 5 and the kink of 6. And as you can see, this lap hasn't been good. We're down 2 tenths, and this has not been a good lap at all, and we might have to back out. I mean, we can't really back out of this because this is last shot qualifying. As you can see, we're down in P13 as we head towards Sector 3, and we've actually gained 2 temps because we went flat out through turn 8, and now as we enter the final 3 corners, we've actually gained nearly a 10th back, so this might be a decent lap. But as we head towards the final corner, we lose the back end, there's a bump on the apex, and that is our qualifying done for the Spanish Grand Prix. It is P16 in Catalonia. Not a good result, not a result that we needed, and yeah, that is the worst case scenario for us in today's race. We can't afford to be starting in P15 or P16 like we did last season. We're actually competing now, and we're trying to get into the top 10, and this is the worst case scenario. The strategy for this race is a clear one-stop because of all of the tyre upgrades, but as far as what tyres to go on with the one-stop, that is the more important question. With the AI, apparently it's softs to mediums, or as you can see, Verstappen and Hamilton, they're doing mediums to softs. My best guess was probably to do medium softs, but apparently it's more quicker to do softs to mediums, even though it's 2 temps quicker. Looking back, I should have probably done mediums to softs, even though, you know, the undercut effect wouldn't have been that much on the mediums, but we just have to try and somehow find a way to compete with this AI. But here we go for this Spanish Grand Prix here in Catalonia, and out of all the career mode races I've done, this is by far going to be the most chaotic race of this series so far. So brace yourselves, strap yourselves in, get your popcorn and your drama out, and enjoy these 33 laps of the Spanish Grand Prix here in Catalonia for 5 red lights. And away we go in Spain for race 6 of season 2. It's an absolutely amazing start as we absolutely mug off Bottas. Tsunoda, as you can see, we're trying to get our teammate. We've got a collision with Zhou Guanyu, or no, Yuki Tsunoda, as we go around the outside in towards turn 1. We make contact with Max Verstappen in the Red Bull as we head up the hill in towards turn number 3. We lose the back end there a little bit. The balance is a little bit all over the place at the start of the first lap of this race. We've already made 6 positions, actually make that 7 as we try and go around the outside of Max Verstappen. We're going to dive down the inside actually of the Red Bull in towards turn 5, and we've absolutely mugged off Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. We have made 7 positions in the first lap, and that start was probably the best start I've ever had on this game. I've had some good starts on this game in this Haas to Glory career mode series. Round the outside we go with Lewis Hamilton. I don't know why our car ghosted right there. I do not know why we ghosted. I didn't touch him, I don't believe, and there was no reason to ghost for him. So lap 3, and as you can see, there's a bit of a train going on with Perez and Leclerc. They're battling side by side, so we're going to use this chance to dive on the inside of George Russell in the other Mercedes, and that is 7th place in this race. As you can see, we've got Lando Norris, we've got Lance Stroll, and then obviously it's Charles Leclerc and also Sergio Perez, who has been our rival for this season. Speaking of rivals, Alexander Albon has been the main rival for Season 2, and as you can see, he's going to be retiring from the Spanish Grand Prix. That's an engine failure for Alex Albon. He is out of the Spanish Grand Prix. He took the lead of this race, and now Alex Albon is out of the lead and he's out of the race. And as you can see, there's confirmation of the upgraded Aston Martin. This is the first race after patch 1.15, the sports update. Check out the previous video for all information on the new patch and update. So lap 6, and now what has seemed to me like an unlikely top 5 is now a very likely top 5, and if we get any luck, we could actually have a podium in this Spanish Grand Prix, which would do absolute wonders in this stage of the season. And we're starting to really build momentum, and we could have another podium. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive down the inside of Lando Norris in towards turn 1, and we make that move work. Now, looking back, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have really battled Lando Norris and, you know, the Mercedes and Verstappen as hard as I do in this race, because as you can see, we're just going to lose time, and that was the one thing that I did wrong in this race. I shouldn't have battled Lando and Oscar Piastri and Max. as hard as it did, because as you can see, look at the gaps between us and Lance Stroll and Charles Leclerc. 1.5 to Lance and over 2 seconds to Charles. So if I just would have let Lando go, I could have saved my ERS and I could have really helped the pace and really closed the gap between us and that pack. And as you can see, I'm just getting molested here by both McLarens. There goes Lando Norris for 5th place and Oscar Piastri. McLaren do have the best car when it comes to aerodynamics, and just there was a lot of corners where they were just all over me. As you can see, I'm losing the back end there. So because of the McLaren's pace and the pace of Lance Stroll and that train of Carlos, Leclerc and Sergio, we have to do a 2-lap undercut. So we're going to box, we're going to do an undercut, we're going to go from the mediums, we're going to go from the softs to the mediums. 2.3 estimated stop time, but as you can see, I let go of the pit release, and for some reason it doesn't properly work for me. So I have to just do it again, and that just cost me at least half a second, or maybe even a second. So we are now in dead last, and we are the first guys on the medium tyres. But as you can see, the strategy again with this game is completely different. The AI have actually went on the hard tyres, so they don't believe that the medium is going to go to the end. But as you can see, there's Oscar Piastri entering turn 1, and somehow, someway, the undercut has actually not worked. Piastri has gotten ahead of us as we begin lap 14, but as you can see, we have so much momentum. We have slipstream, we're going to dive down the inside, he turns on us, but he leaves us just enough room, and that is P15 for this race. We were the first ones to do the undercut, so we had to get that moved on. But as you can see, look at the pace of Oscar Piastri, and there's Lando Norris right there. We're going to hold it around the outside of both McLarens, and we absolutely mug them off as we get a radio message on Charles Leclerc. I think he had a DRS failure, I'm not really sure, or a gearbox failure, because as you can see, he's just really slow exiting the final corner here. And as Lando Norris gets past him, we get past Charles Leclerc for 5th place. Magnussen sets the fastest lap of the race, a 13.3, and just the AI, they were just doing times that I just couldn't compete with. I mean, as you can see, my best lap time is a 13.9, and they're doing 13.3s, 13.4s. So clearly they are completely overpowered in the final sector at this track, and it was just, I just couldn't keep up with them. As you can see, lap 23, 10 laps to go, and the two McLarens are going to go side by side into the first 2 corners. It's Norris versus Piastri, and I think Lando Norris beats out Piastri just like he does in real life, and we absolutely get a run on Oscar Piastri. We're going to go around the outside in towards turn 4. You lose the back end twice there, and we do get the position, which is 5th place in this race. But the gaps again between this pack and Lance Stroll, Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz is over 5 seconds. So we're in the middle of no man's land. We're quicker, we're slightly quicker than Lando Norris. Look at the closing speed as we head towards turn 1. We overtake Lando Norris for 4th place, but we're just in the middle of nowhere. We can't keep, we can't maintain the gap between the McLarens, and we can't close the gap between Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll and that gap in front. So we're just battling. We're just battling with the McLarens, and as you can see, Max as well. Max is now coming to the play on the hard tyres. So we have to try and somehow defend and also attack as well. We have to attack the McLarens while somehow defending Max Verstappen, and Verstappen gets past Lando Norris at the same time. We overtook Lando as well. So we've got 6 to 5 laps to go until the end of this race, and a podium looks completely unlikely. It's 3 wide heading towards turn 1, and we just about defend that position from Max and also Lando as well. Lando loses his position to Oscar Piastri, and now lap 29, Verstappen is now all over us. He goes on the inside line, but we make the apex and we retain position once again in this race. Later on in the lap, this is where all hell breaks loose. So I'm trying to defend off Oscar Piastri. There's a yellow flag, and as you can see, Sergio Perez has been spun by Lance Stroll, and there's a massive concertina effect. Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and others, George Russell included, have all been involved in this crash. Here's what happens again. And Sergio Perez, out of turn 5, he just loses the back end. So just effortlessly. And I did a good job to avoid it, but look at the train of cars behind the Red Bull. As you can see, Lance Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Norris, Hamilton, they all get involved in this. So did George Russell as well. But as you can see, look at the damage. Piastri's behind me. I avoid Lance Stroll, and then Oscar just runs into the back of Lance, and then it's just a domino effect. Oscar goes into Lance, Max goes into Oscar. Lando doesn't lose his front wing, but now he's stuck behind Max Verstappen. So Max and Oscar now lose vital points in the championship. Sergio loses vital points as well, because Sergio is in the lead of the World Championship, but there's a yellow flag, and that's Max Verstappen. Verstappen is out of the Spanish Grand Prix. Look, he just crashes into the pit lane. What the hell happened there? Verstappen, he lost his front wing because of the contact at turn 5, and he just simply understeers straight in. He just understeers straight into the pit lane. That's absolutely ridiculous. And because of that, Carlos Sainz wins the Spanish Grand Prix for the first time, and because of the incident, we are going to take second place in the Spanish Grand Prix. It's P16 to P2 here in Catalonia, 18 points. And we've closed the gap once again to Lando Norris and Sergio Perez in the World Championship. George Russell gets third place in this race, but I was absolutely stunned when that crash happened. I did not expect Sergio to lose the back end like that, and it just seems to me like the AI, they lose the rear end too many times, and it's just happening too many. It's happening on a caring basis, like too many times, if you will. And it's just starting to get a little bit annoying, because, how do you lose the back end on turn 5? I mean, they're on the harder tyres, and it's Sergio Perez. He's done this so many times over this series, and now, as you can see, 21 points is the gap between me and Sergio, and 7 points is the gap between me and Lando in the Drivers' Championship. But if you did enjoy this episode of the F123 Haas to Glory, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more F123 Haas to Glory content, online content, and just general F123 stuff. What a chaotic race this was. P16 to P2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Haas to Glory video in a bit.